The United States and Canada are the biggest trading partners in the world to the tune of $759 billion annually. 25% of that trade crosses the Ambassador Bridge, and more will pass between Michigan and Ontario when the Gordie Howe International Bridge opens in 2020.
Of all the 50 states, Michigan is our largest trading partner, and we are Michigan's best customer. We buy more from Michigan than you sell to the next 16 countries combined. In agriculture, you sell us 1.2 billion and you buy from us about 1 billion. But of all your exports to the whole world, 58% goes to Canada.
In 2002, the Farm Bill included country of origin labeling, or COOL. This law requires retailers to provide country of origin labeling for fresh beef, pork, and lamb, exempting processed meats. In 2008, the United States Congress passed an expansion of COOL requirements to include more food items such as fresh fruits, nuts, and vegetables, and was amended requiring cuts of meat be labeled with the country in which the livestock was born, raised, and where it was processed.
It's basically a protectionist type of policy that was established with the concept of if we can somehow communicate to consumers that this beef is born and raised and processed entirely in the United States versus imported from other countries, that there'll be some sort of a premium for that will come back to the ranch. In the 6 years that we've had mandatory country of origin labeling, we haven't seen that. Not a dime has come back as a result of this policy.
A USDA report released in May did not find any evidence of measurable increases in consumer demand for beef or pork based on the COOL regulations.
You know, we've done a little bit of just quick surveying of consumers, and most of them don't even realize it's on the package, nor do they really care. As long as that product is safe and affordable and available to them, you know, they aren't even looking for the country where it was produced from, at least as far as meat products are concerned. There are those who thought it would be a marketing advantage when in fact it's just the opposite. It's not a marketing advantage. We have a Michigan producer with Canadian hogs, and those animals are born in Canada, but all of them, for all intents and purposes, come over here to be finished. Well, now processors are saying, you know, you have to bring those in within a certain window of time because we can't justify the time necessary to separately identify those pigs. When in effect, they've spent 75, 80, 90% of their time in the U.S.
The COOL program has caused significant additional costs to U.S. processors such that they've started segregating and sometimes not even accepting Canadian beef and pork, or Canadian cattle and hogs. So we took the U.S. to the WTO, claiming that this was a discriminatory measure and asking for it to be repealed. We won the first WTO challenge. The U.S. appealed. We won the appeal. And so the U.S. said that they would change it to bring it into compliance with WTO rules. They actually made it worse. And so we went to a compliance panel, and the compliance panel said that the U.S. had increased the discrimination against Canada. So once we won that, the U.S. then appealed that decision.
May 18th, the World Trade Organization rejected the fourth and final U.S. appeal, paving the way for Canada and Mexico to place tariffs on dozens of U.S. products.
At all costs need to avoid retaliatory tariffs because that would be economically devastating. We exported almost $1 billion worth of pork to Canada last year and $1.5 billion to Mexico.
For beef specifically, Canada and Mexico are two of our largest export markets traditionally. In 2014, they were both in excess of $1 billion markets for beef. That's a huge impact to cattle producers' bottom lines if we don't have those markets to export to.
Secretary of Agriculture Vilsack has said he cannot fix it with regulations. It has to be done through legislation. It has to go to Congress. I know that there are people in Congress who are looking at the issue, looking at their options. You have to keep in mind that until Canada is satisfied, once we have the authority to retaliate, our retaliation stays in place until the time that we're satisfied that it's been fixed to our satisfaction.